Some betrayals hit like fire. Others slice clean, like a blade drawn in silence.
The night everything changed, rain drummed softly against the windows of the Riley home. Mark Riley lived a life designed with precision. At 42, he was disciplined, intelligent, and the respected lead financial analyst at Sterling Corp. His reputation for seeing patterns others missed had earned him wealth, stability, and a 5-bedroom home filled with quiet luxury. His wife, Sarah, had once matched his ambition stride for stride. They met at Columbia Business School, two sharp minds who challenged and completed each other. For 12 years, they were a power couple, or so Mark believed. Until that Wednesday evening, he walked into their shared home office just to grab a charger, expecting nothing more dramatic than a low battery. But Sarah's laptop was open unusual for her. Her security habits were rigid. A messenger window glowed on the screen. The name was David Wallace, his direct rival at Apex Global, the man competing against him for the multi-billion-dollar Innovate acquisition. Mark's pulse hammered as he clicked the message. Can't wait for our strategic session Friday. Same hotel, same room. Wear that black thing I like. The words hit him like a gunshot. His wife wasn't just cheating. She was doing it with the one man capable of sabotaging his greatest career victory, and she was handing over his information. Mark didn't scream. He didn't shatter the laptop. The analyst inside him awakened cold, calculating, controlled. He photographed everything, closed the screen, left the room exactly as she had. When Sarah arrived home later, smiling tiredly and lying smoothly about her brutal week, Mark nodded along, pouring her wine, studying her face, memorizing her tells. Outside, the rain soughed to a whisper. Inside, Mark Riley's world quietly shattered, and something sharper formed in its place. The next morning, Mark called in sick, something he hadn't done in 5 years. By noon, he sat in the office of Jack Maxwell, a former detective turned private investigator. I need information, Mark said. Not confrontation. It took 48 hours for Maxwell's report to arrive, and it was catastrophic. 4 months of hotel meetings. Evidence of Sarah accessing Mark's home server afterward, downloads of confidential acquisition data, and proof of David opening an offshore account with a planned $2 million payoff for Sarah after the deal closed. But the final revelation stopped Mark cold. David Wallace's wife, Emily, was a corporate lawyer, and she had no idea. Emily Wallace, brilliant, composed, with sharp eyes that measured every detail. Mark dialed her office number. This is Emily Wallace, Mrs. Wallace, he said. My name is Mark Riley. I believe we need to discuss a serious conflict of interest. Regarding your husband and my wife, a deadly quiet pause followed. Where? She asked. Winston Bar, tonight, 8 o'clock. Her voice didn't shake. Very well. That night, Emily arrived, poised and guarded. Mark handed her a sealed envelope filled with evidence. She opened it, read it silently, and closed it with trembling fingers. Then she looked up. You're sure you want to do this quietly? Yes, Mark said. They expect us to break, to scream, to fall apart. Emily's lips curved into a grim smile. Then let's do the one thing they never prepared for. The strategy they formed was simple. Don't blow up their world. Let them watch it collapse. The annual Hawthorne Charity Gala, the biggest networking event of the year, was the perfect stage. They arrived separately but entered at the same moment. Emily in a midnight blue gown, Mark in a tailored suit, calm as stone. Inside, chandeliers glimmered as the elite mingled. Sarah and David stood by the east window, their bodies close, radiating the smug secrecy of co-conspirators. They didn't know the game had already ended. Mark and Emily circled the crowd, slowly, deliberately, each lap tightening an invisible noose. Finally, they approached. Mark, Sarah said brightly, rising to kiss him. You made O. She froze as she registered Emily beside him, David's face drained of color. You two know each other? Sarah asked, her voice faltering. We're quite close now, Emily said smoothly. We've discovered we have mutual problems. The silence was heavy enough to crush. Mark stepped forward. When you access a secured server 7 times using stolen credentials, it leaves a trail. David's jaw clenched. Not here. Oh, we're not making a scene, Mark replied softly. We just wanted you to know that we know. Emily leaned in. And that everything, the fare, the offshore account, the espionage, is documented. Sarah grabbed Mark's arm. Please, no, Mark said, his voice firm. Tomorrow? 9A, Emily's attorney's office. Be there. Then, loud enough for nearby guests to hear, he said, Emily, shall we get some air? They walked away, leaving Sarah and David frozen in the glittering ballroom, 2 ghosts watching their future turn to ash. Revenge doesn't always roar. Sometimes it enters a ballroom wearing a calm smile. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.